Hello, and welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Laura Cotter.
And I'm Skye Richard.
And welcome back to our second to last episode of the season. Before we get into it, so there are a couple things that I want to talk about. So on our As Westbridge Turns episode, at the end, when Libby and Sabrina are fighting in the pool, one of our Instagram followers pointed out that this is a replication of a scene from the soap opera Dynasty, where Linda Evans and Joan Collins fight in a lily pond. And I linked it in the show notes, the video of it. And it's kind of amazing. And now I think I want to watch Dynasty.
Okay.
It's a 3-minute clip, so you don't have to watch it right now, but it is pretty funny. It's some pretty amazing acting. And at the end, when they both get out of the pond and Joan Collins is walking away, she has one shoe on her foot and one high heel in her hand. And she's like walking down this long garden path. And at some point, she just takes the high heel she's carrying and just like chucks it into the bushes and continues to walk with just one high heel on. It's a beautiful scene. The other thing I wanted to comment about, because this also goes back to the Great Mistake one, the scene I was laughing at with Zelda and the tennis balls, Beth Broderick today posted on her Instagram, and all I saw was, we're suggesting a post you might like, Beth Broderick, and it just said balls. And Beth Broderick posted a picture of herself working out in the gym with like a yoga ball and medicine ball, and all she did was captioned it balls.
Icon.
So I thought that was great. All right, Skye, our question for this episode is, which old-timey chore would you hate the least to do? So of like the candle making, butter churning, cow milking, the ones that we saw in this episode.
I think taking care of the horses and the horse tech would be it, just because I helped my grandpa a ton with that growing up. And so, not saying I'm an expert, but I do it really well.
I figured you would pick something with animals.
What about you?
I feel like the candle dipping one seemed like the least terrible option because it didn't seem very hard. But again, you're just dunking your arm up and down, so you get a decent arm workout. Also, I would make better candles than Jenny and Adam did because I would know when to stop.
Yeah, those candles got crazy.
They were wild. Okay, let's get into it because I have a feeling this is gonna be maybe a bit of a longer episode for us.
We'll find out.
This is season 1, episode 23. It is titled The Crucible. Our description is Sabrina is put on trial for witchcraft when her class visits historical Salem, Massachusetts. It originally aired May 9th, 1997, directed by Gary Halverson. And then we have another teleplay by John Sherman and Nell Scoville with a story by Nell Scoville. Guest stars Bridget Flannery and Melissa Marie Much are back as Jill and Cece. I don't know if this is the last time we see them, or I don't know if they're back for season 2. Then we have John Patrick White as Adam. He's from things like Can't Hardly Wait, Galaxy Quest, Party of Five, and AJ's Time Travelers. I don't know what that is, but it was listed on the IMDb. We have Berlinda Tolbert as Mrs. Hecht. She's from things like Goodfellas, Patriot Games, Home Improvement, and The Jeffersons. However, in the Mars Attracts episode, we also had Mrs. Hecht. She was played by Sandra Spriggs in that episode.
Doing some funny switcheroos on us.
Kevin Nash as the Giant. He is a wrestler known as Diesel from the WWE/WWF. There was a movie he was in called The COVID-19 Invasion, and it got 2 stars.
Well, that's going on the list.
And he was also in John Wick. Are you looking up COVID-19 Invasion?
I'm putting it on the list.
Okay. Sometimes your faces, I can't tell if it's a typing face or a what am I reading face.
I mean, I can quickly look it up as well for the people. I'm just putting COVID-19 invasion into Google, which could be problematic.
Maybe COVID-19 was an alien invasion, and everybody who got COVID is infected with aliens now.
Ooh.
I'm still safe. I never tested positive.
That's crazy. Maybe you're a mutant there.
My whole family finally got it. My sister finally got it last May, and my parents finally got it last September, and I'm the last one standing.
Okay, COVID-19 Invasion came out in 2021. The original title was Lockdown. Oh, okay. This description, Rex, played by Kevin Nash, and his men aim to kill the homeless people living in a local deserted school, hoping it'll slow an ultra-deadly strain of COVID. Now outnumbered 100 to 1, Hap must save his little sister.
Oh no!
Right?
That's so dark. Oh no!
I can't decide if this goes off the list or it stays on the list.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how we watch that one. I think we have to have a bingo card for that one to like make it a little more fun.
Yeah. I was not expecting that description.
That is dark.
So that's the COVID-19 invasion.
Well, moving right along from that. What were your overall thoughts on this episode, Skye?
You know, I didn't imagine we'd have the literal Crucible happening. And I keep forgetting that Sabrina is set in Massachusetts. And so it didn't even cross my mind that, hey, we could go to Salem at some point. But I would like to go to Salem at some point as well.
My other question, when I was thinking of questions of the day, was going to be, would you be burned for a witch in the witch trials? But I know the answer is yes for both of us, so.
We like cats way too much.
We like cats. We like science too much. We are too opinionated.
Stick it to the man too much. Yep. There's a good meme of like, if you're not someone that would have been burnt in the olden times, what are you even doing?
Yeah, I would have absolutely been at least outcast, if not burned. But also I would have made it to adulthood anyway. I would have died from one of my many childhood ailments.
Not if you're a witch.
Not if I'm a witch, which should be proof. Do you think I'd be getting kidney stones if I was a witch?
Touche. Quote unquote kidney stones. Could just be taking time off work, doing witchy things.
That's the worst excuse.
But no one's going to question you much further, right? They're just going to be like, oh.
No one has ever questioned me for proof of my kidney stones, mostly because I'm too ready to be like, you want to see a picture of it?
Actually, pretty genius.
So we start off with a really weird cold open, which I will explain at the end why it's so weird. But we're going to get through the weirdness of it first. So Sabrina goes to answer the linen closet, tripping and spilling what I think are Cheetos on the camera in the process. Like, it's a really weird throw the bowl at the camera. She opens the closet door to find a large man threatening her and attacking her. She runs away into her bedroom before realizing she's not who the man thinks she is. He feels so embarrassed for frightening her and leaves with an apology.
The apology being that they recently merged the Horde and interdepartmental communication has been terrible. But isn't that just like all jobs?
He starts to leave, but he's left behind his weapon, which I think is a mace.
Yes, it is a much more appropriate historical version of a mace than what we've seen so far. So good job, props department.
Is there a historical version of a mace, or is that one of those things that we made up but never actually existed?
The traditional mace you think of isn't what is actually historical. It's that longer bar that you see that he has there, and it's actually wrapped with like leather at the bottom, which is more accurate. And then typically the like ball at the top,
it's not a ball with spikes.
Correct. There is one version that is a ball with spikes, and this gets it closer than what Hilda had in her closet before.
Sorry, we always got to stop to discuss medieval weaponry. It's a rule on this podcast. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
It's in the bylaws. Sabrina grabs the mace and throws it to him, and then we hear him grunt, and she winces and covers her eyes. And if you're all confused why the camera angles are the way they are and why this was filmed the way it was, it's because apparently this was filmed with a 3D camera. So I'm willing to bet there was some sort of promotional opportunity where it was like, get your 3D glasses, like go to McDonald's or whatever, buy this meal, get your 3D glasses, and then watch Sabrina, the opening of Sabrina, and you'll get like the 3D version or something. Or like maybe if you bought the DVDs, it came with 3D glasses or something like that.
Interesting.
That's why. Otherwise, it just looks weird. Our outfit intro is a pinstripe skirt suit and a briefcase. She says, I only do nice hostile takeovers. Going to our first scene, Sabrina is in class learning about the Salem witch trials. Mrs. Hecht is using a quite serious tone for this, and then she suddenly switches her tone entirely to talk about tomorrow's Saturday field trip to the historic town.
Not only is it a Saturday, but then we also learn it's an overnight trip, so it's Saturday and Sunday, and they have school Monday.
Did we just go to 4 schools? Or, like, is this a thing people did?
I did one overnight in my entire school education that was actual, like, class going somewhere and doing something. But that was, I guess, a 5th grader.
I know we had one that was further away, but I don't think it was overnight even. It was, like, for some sort of competition, like, math decathlon or something like that. I don't know if it was overnight, though. If you've been on an overnight field trip, let us know where you're at so we know where this is maybe more normal. The bus leaves at 8 a.m. and they should pack light because they'll be provided with historic clothes upon their arrival. In the hallway, Harvey asks if Sabrina wants to sit next to him on the bus tomorrow. He knows all the good bus songs.
Would the understanding be that you're sitting on the bus given that they are supposedly dating?
Not necessarily, because she also does still have Jenny as her best friend. So, like, if my options were between my boyfriend and my best friend in high school, sometimes I would choose my best friend. Maybe it was also just, like, a cute, like, I know you're going to say yes, but I'm still going to ask you to be cutesy.
Gross.
Also, did you notice that Sabrina's dress looks like one of those Magic Eye posters in this scene? It distracted me. Sabrina isn't sure she's going and doesn't know what the big deal is about going to Salem. She storms away from Harvey, and Harvey's very confused. Further down the hall, we see Libby, Jill, and Cece by Libby's locker, and she says hi to Adam, who doesn't really respond. Jill and Cece ask why he hasn't asked her out yet, because he clearly is into her, but it's only because he's shy. A girl has to make the first move, and she's going to do it in Salem.
Perfect exotic setting, according to Libby.
They also list the other jocks Libby has dated, which is soccer, hockey, lacrosse, and badminton. Do we think Libby would date somebody who played badminton?
Is this a sport that can have jocks on the East Coast? It's tennis light, right? You're a professional badmintoner in high school. Let us know.
I did enjoy badminton in gym class. It was like the one sport I actually had fun with. Wasn't good at it, but had fun. Hilda and Zelda are planning a Texas-style dinner party while Sabrina is gone, but Hilda vetoes inviting Carl and his skunk familiar.
So do we think this skunk is a real familiar or like a witch punishment familiar? And what would you need to do to become a skunk in the eyes of the Witches' Council?
If it's a real familiar, because shouldn't your familiars like kind of reflect who you are and your personality? So what kind of person is like a skunk familiar is what reflects me. I mean, skunks on the outside are like super cute and look kind of fluffy. I don't know if I'd want one around me 24/7 though as my familiar.
They're mean too. They'll kill chickens.
But also, what would you need to do to become a skunk? Because apparently the highest crime is what Salem did, and he only turned into a cat. So that's why I think it's got to be a real familiar, because I don't know what crime would fit this punishment.
Yeah, what's the hierarchy? Cat's the top. Newt is not a newt. He's a different kind of lizard whose name is Newt. It's someone with a stinky personality.
Maybe it's somebody who's like really sensitive to smells and they did something to piss Drell off and he did it as like a harsh punishment to be like, oh, you prefer to have no smells? Guess what? I'm going to turn you into the smelliest animal.
Drell would do something like that.
You hate when somebody's perfume is too heavy? Guess what? You're a skunk now. Sabrina says she's not going on this trip, though, because she's sick. Hilda zaps her into what is supposed to be an Indian outfit and has her sitting on a bed of nails. Sabrina asks why, and Hilda says it's because she's a faker, like a fakir, the Indian mystic.
So, fakir is a term derived from the Arabic word fakir, meaning poor man, that traditionally refers to...
Sorry. You just said that. Fakir. That's not what I was expecting.
The pronunciation.
I know it's what it is. It startled me. Okay, sorry.
Trying to give the people some facts here. Anyways, meaning poor man, that traditionally refers to a Muslim Sufi ascetic who renounces worldly possessions and dedicates their life to worship. While of Muslim origin, the term has also come to be applied to wandering Hindu holy people, particularly in India. Fakirs are often associated with feats of endurance or magic, such as walking on fire or performing other acts of self-mortification.
Interesting. Also, she has a large jewel in her headdress, turban, and I'm waiting for any jewel on this show to not look like it was on clearance for 99 cents.
Also, Sabrina's like, ouch, this hurts, things are pointy. If you're sitting on a bed of nails, you should not feel anything, so she's about to get stabbed if she keeps shifting around her weight there.
She's not used to it. She's not practiced at this. She's never tried it before.
In, like, physics class, you can do it, like, because you're dispersing your weight between the points.
Well, she's bad at it. The point of all of this is Sabrina isn't sick. Hilda and Zelda reassure her that the Salem witch trials had nothing to do with real witches and she'll be safe.
We need to decide what is in a 7-witch chili and add it to our cookbook.
Do we think it's like a 7-bean chili?
Or they're cannibals and it's 7 actual witches. Is Hilda making it?
Hilda turned some people into beans. The bus arrives with all the kids singing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And Mrs. Hecht sat through 93 bottles of beer on that wall. Public school teachers do not get paid enough. She was on that bus ride for way too long. But also, how slow are they singing? Because I looked it up and that song should only take about 15 minutes and it's an hour drive. So did they sing this song 3 and almost 4 times through?
I could see Harvey encouraging that there. I love that her excuse is, nope, you're Puritans now. Singing is not allowed.
Or do you think they started at a higher number? Like, do we think they started at like 400 bottles of beer?
Oh, wow.
I love Mrs. Hecht. She hands out cards with roles for them to play while on the trip. Most say townsperson, but one or more may say witch. She tells them to open their envelopes, but don't reveal them to anyone. Harvey opens up his and immediately tells Sabrina he's a townsperson.
Oh, Harvey.
Sabrina refuses to open hers because she doesn't even care. The students enter the village to find Mr. Poole in the stocks. As Jenny gets off the bus, Mrs. Hecht stops her and tells her to get rid of the gum because the Puritans would have been against it. Jenny puts the gum in her card that says townsperson and throws it away in a very obvious foreshadowing moment. Mr. Poole welcomes the students to Salem and tells them to pick a buddy. Harvey and Sabrina are buddies. Jill and Cece both ask Libby to be their buddies, but Libby has someone else in mind and tells them to be each other's buddies. She goes to ask Adam, but he's already asked Jenny. Libby is shocked and disgusted and buddyless, so Mr. Poole will be her buddy. Libby feels like she's falling down a well. Everyone goes to change into costume and do chores, and we get a montage of everyone struggling to live like a Puritan, including a fun moment where Libby pulls an axe out of a log after Mr. Poole is struggling with it.
During this montage, Sabrina and Harvey are with the horse, trying to brush it down there. Harvey is just letting this horse go crazy in circles there, but Sabrina doesn't even try and move along and is frequently near the backside of this horse, which, yes, this is a trained horse for filming, but you never hang around a horse's backside because you will get kicked. And a horse kick can exert a force of up to 8,722 newtons, which is approximately 2,000 pounds, which is more than twice the force of the strongest punches from world champion heavyweight boxers. So you will either be in critical care or you could die. Word of warning, don't do a Sabrina and Harvey.
This has been Horse Facts with Skye. Thank you for joining us.
The end.
Yeah, no, don't mess with horses. The more you know.
Just approach with caution, know their temperament, don't go near their backside.
Some of the other chores we see in the montage are Jenny and Adam dipping candles that get comically fat, and Jenny struggling to carry water with a yoke and then spilling it on Cece. Sabrina, Jenny, Harvey, and Adam are eating a very un-Puritan lunch with chips and soda. Harvey admits the chores were harder than baseball practice, and Adam says he's going to be feeling it tomorrow. So now Harvey plays baseball, but he has also played football and basketball this season.
I mean, you could technically squeeze those 3 seasons in. There would be some overlap.
How many concussions does this kid have?
Concussions and then magical memory loss. He's gonna have a tough life.
I'm worried about this child. Jenny asks if anyone's been accused of having a witch card yet, and Sabrina hopes no one is. First, you start looking for witches, and then it turns into a witch hunt. Mr. Poole sits with his buddy and her friends at lunch. They are disgusted when he points out that it wasn't uncommon for Puritan women their age to be married and have a kid. I went on a deep dive on Puritan courtship. The typical Puritan age for marriage was actually higher than other early American cultures, with Puritan men tending to marry around 26 and women around 23, although the legal age was 12 for girls and 14 for boys. So Libby and co are 16 here, so it would actually not be that common for them to be married and have a child at that age. That's my Puritan fact.
Well, this is why Mr. Poole is not the history teacher.
I think it's just this misconception we have of Puritans and Puritan culture, of them being very, like, they were pretty uptight, like, not gonna lie, but they weren't necessarily child marriage uptight. Adam asks Jenny if he can talk to her outside, and Libby and her friends are furious to see them go outside alone. Libby leaves lunch and goes to channel her anger into something productive. We get a quick shot of Adam telling Jenny he has something important to tell her, but asks her to keep it a secret. She promises, then we're back at the lunch table with Harvey telling Sabrina she looks really cute in her Puritan outfit. She returns the compliments and they hold hands until Mrs. Hecht comes by and tells them that they can't hold hands unless they're married. And again, Puritans, I think in theory, were really strict about PDA and stuff, but I think in practice, given the number of babies in historical records that were born less than 9 months after marriage, I don't think they were actually that strict about it. Just then, they hear a scream coming from the attic. Everyone rushes upstairs and finds Libby sitting on her bed, holding her hair in braided pigtails. She claims Jenny's specter flew through the window and braided her hair to make her look dorky and threw her shoes out the window, and she can prove it. They all go outside and find Libby's shoes on the ground. Harvey and Sabrina aren't buying it. The teachers tell them that the Puritans take these accusations very seriously, so they can either address it or go back to their chores. Jill and Cece quickly chime in that they saw Jenny with the devil, with Libby adding on and then chanting witch, witch together. Jenny joins the group to see what's going on, and Sabrina has her run inside with Libby and friends chasing after her, yelling witch. And this is where Libby takes on the role of Abigail Williams from the Crucible / the Salem witch trials. Sabrina and Jenny go upstairs, and Sabrina explains they think Jenny is a witch. Jenny thinks it's cool, but her card says townsperson. She can't prove it, though, because she threw it away. Jenny doesn't understand why Sabrina is so upset. It's because they're persecuting Jenny, and if they can do it to her, they can do it to anyone. Jenny tells Sabrina it's just a game, but what if it wasn't a game? Mrs. Hecht comes upstairs and tells Jenny it's time for her trial. Sabrina wishes they would have just recreated Thanksgiving, which is just known for being a non-dramatic, very wholesome event.
Yep.
Also, Jenny's eyes are just super blue in this scene with her Puritan clothes, and I think Jenny should always wear Puritan clothes.
You know, I could see her embracing that as a fashion choice.
At least, the kind of collar and blue-toned top she has. That's what she should stick with. Mr. Poole and Mrs. Hecht are presiding over Jenny's trial, with Libby, Jill, and Cece standing as witnesses / accusers. When Jenny enters, they start rubbing their arms and claiming that she is making them cold.
And is this the first time we hear that Jenny's full name is Jennifer Kelly? Or have we heard her last name before?
I don't know if we heard it in the episode where she got elected, in the Terrible Things episode where she won the election. I don't know if they said Jennifer or Jenny there. I mean, it would make sense that Jenny is short for Jennifer. Sabrina scoffs and tells them to put on a sweater. Mr. Poole asks Jenny if she's a witch and if her specter attacked Libby. She denies it. Mr. Poole asks her where she was then because she wasn't in the dining hall when Libby screamed. Libby pipes up that she was with Adam, unescorted. Jenny claims that they were just talking, but she can't say what they were talking about because she was sworn to secrecy. Mr. Poole says there are no secrets from the court, so Sabrina yells out to ask Jill if that's her real nose. But Jill's nose is not on trial. And this is a callback to the Bunt Friday. So congratulations to everybody involved in this show. We had a joke from episode 2 reappear in episode 23. Well done. Jenny still refuses to tell, even though she will face punishment. We flip to Jenny in the stocks, and Sabrina saying she's proud of her, but they haven't found the key yet. Jenny wishes she was a witch because she'd zap open the stocks and fly out of there. Adam suddenly shows up from a walk in the woods. Where the hell was Adam this whole time? And he's stunned to find Jenny in the stocks. Sabrina explains she was put there because she wouldn't tell the court what she and Adam were talking about. Adam says he'll tell the court because she won't suffer on his account, and they would have found out on Monday anyway. The three of them rush into the courtroom, and Adam says he told Jenny that he's quitting baseball. Harvey is shocked. Libby and friends immediately accuse Jenny of bewitching Adam because she's turned a man against sport.
The audacity.
Adam says they should blame his insane coach instead. They start chanting witchcraft until Sabrina whistles to get their attention. They have no real proof that Jenny is a witch, but they also don't have proof that she isn't. Sabrina points out they could say that about anyone in the room. Libby suddenly yelps and accuses Sabrina of pinching her. Jill and Cece join in as well and accuse Sabrina of being a witch. Cue gasps and dramatic music. So my question at this point, as I was watching it, do we think Libby has read The Crucible / actually paid attention in class and is purposely recreating Abigail's scenario, what she did? Or do we think that this is just a show that teenage girls across centuries are capable of lives and manipulation in the same way, spontaneously?
That's a tough question. Because on one side I want to say, nah, Libby hasn't read The Crucible or paid attention. But also, given some of Libby's character, she's smart and could have actually read it, recreating The Crucible. So, I don't know.
Sabrina is flustered and refuses to even answer the accusation, but Libby just keeps calling her a witch. Sabrina yells that the only witch in the room is Libby and points at her, accidentally causing a ball of light to zoom around the room for all to see. Everyone is scared, but Mr. Poole has an explanation. It was just ball lightning.
And ball lightning is a rare, unexplained phenomenon described as a luminous, spherical object that appears during or after thunderstorms, often lasting longer than a lightning bolt and sometimes moving erratically. And if they're still shooting in a 3D camera, that could be another point of 3D-ness. But that's the only other one I could think of, unless the opening was the only 3D camera.
Let me check my notes again and see if it was just the opening. Hold on. It's just the opening sequence.
Never mind about that then.
One thing, though, I forgot to put in my notes that I just saw. This episode, so Stuart Bass was nominated for the 1998 Eddie Award for Best Edited Half-Hour Series for Television for this episode.
Interesting.
Ball lightning, Sabrina causes it. So the ants still have not taught Sabrina how to put the safety on her finger.
Seems like an irresponsible choice by Zelda and Hilda.
Especially for how they punished her for her mistakes. Come on, guys. Mrs. Heck dismisses everyone for the night, and tomorrow they'll have Sabrina's trial. Sabrina calls home and asks Zelda to come get her, but refuses to tell her why until they get there. Zelda goes into the dining room where Hilda is serving food and tells her they need to go get Sabrina. They leave Salem in charge of the guests and the house.
Control, chili, I have it all. Mwahahaha. That's our Salem moment of the episode. Chili being served out of a large cauldron, which is a much more acceptable use of a cauldron than pens.
Also, for an episode that is featured in the city of Salem, this is the only line for the character of Salem. Sabrina walks out of the inn in normal clothes, carrying her bags. Harvey doesn't understand why she's leaving, but her aunts are pulling up in their car. She gives Harvey a kiss goodbye and puts her bags in the car.
Is this first time that we've seen that they own a car? And do they actually own it? Did they magic it into existence? Or they just stole it for this purpose? Because they don't have a garage and there's nothing ever parked out front, right?
I think we do have a garage. We're going to see, I think, next season. This is a type of car they would own if they did own a car. But given the way that Zelda drives it, it seems like she's very uncomfortable with driving it. Maybe it's like one of their investment purchases.
Yeah, and Hilda does make the remark of Zelda drives like an 800-year-old, which is still continuity, right? So we can applaud the writers on that as well. Or no, they're 500, not 800.
Wait, 600. But maybe that's like she's insulting her as if she was 800. That, but also the tires squeal when they stop, but they're on a dirt road.
No, I didn't notice that.
What are those tires squealing on?
Teenage angst.
Also, I love their car outfits, especially Hilda's coat. Hilda's coat is fantastic. And then if anybody knows where I can buy that coat, I'm going to send you a sticker. But also, did you see the look Harvey gives Sabrina after she gives him a kiss goodbye?
Mm-mm.
It was like, she kisses him and he's like, "Are you sure you can't stay?" And I'm like, oh, this is an overnight field trip with only 2 chaperones. One of whom is Mr. Poole. I know exactly what's going on now.
I didn't think about the only 2 chaperones we see. I did question taking high schoolers on an overnight.
It seems like they're sleeping in like a common area, like when they go up to the attic, there's several beds there. So I don't think it'd be really easy to sneak out, but...
I mean, Adam just snuck out to the woods with no one noticing. So.
Nobody cares about Adam. Adam's not important. Sabrina's aunts stop her and ask her to explain. She says that people have accused her of being a witch. She admits she doesn't know what was on her card. Hilda is just impressed. The mortals accused a real witch for once. Sabrina doesn't feel like this is a game. They make being a witch seem like a bad thing, even though she knows it's not, but she can't tell anyone. She came close to blowing her cover, and she can't honestly proclaim her innocence. Zelda tells her to calm down and that there's a lesson to be learned about accepting who she is, so she can't come home. Hilda says Sabrina knows what's right, and they leave her to figure it out on her own. The next morning, Sabrina is back in Puritan dress, sitting with Harvey while he churns butter. Harvey is at least happy she's there, even if she's not. Sabrina asks if Harvey would still like her if she was a witch. A real witch, not just in the game. Harvey doesn't understand how he could not like it and asks her what kind of stuff she would be able to do. Sabrina starts to talk about some of the things she's done with magic as examples, like turn Libby into a goat, change clothes, or make a giant fawn. All stuff that happened in Sabrina Through the Looking Glass episode. Harvey is unimpressed and thinks she should do bigger things, like make pizza. I love Harvey so much. How Nate Richard doesn't have like the biggest career is wild to me. Mrs. Hecht comes out to get Sabrina for her trial. Harvey straightens her bonnet for her before she's loaded in a cart and driven through town where she gets a cabbage thrown at her. And I need you, Skye, to hold this conversation where Harvey's like, I would accept you and love you if you were a witch. I need you to remember this moment for the next 3 seasons, okay?
Definitely doable for my brain.
I need it. We can plow through the next 3 seasons really quick. I just need you to remember this moment.
Just tattoo it on my forearm.
I will help you remember this because I'm going to be very angry in about 3 seasons.
I think I have an educated guess about what might happen in 3 seasons.
Spoiler alert for everybody who's never seen Sabrina before. Also, why are you on this podcast if you've never seen Sabrina before?
Because they're like me and discovering along the way.
You've seen it before. It's just been a very long time.
I've seen maybe like 10 episodes.
Wait, I thought you've seen most of it.
No, I watched the animated.
Okay, well now I feel bad. Okay, I'll be more circumspect in my future.
It's been like 25 years. It's fine.
When do spoiler alerts expire?
Looking at those fan fictions for that episode, seeing other names that aren't Harvey, I was like, okay.
Oh wait, this is a long paragraph, Skye, and you did not add any notes to this. So I'm going to need you just to make noises so I can have breaks.
Okay.
As Sabrina walks into the courtroom, I think this is the longest scene we've had in this show. I think this is like the longest time we've been in one scene in this entire season. As Sabrina walks into the courtroom, the three girls claim she's making them itchy. Sabrina points out they're wearing wool and all of them are itchy. Mr. Poole asks her if she's a witch and she admits that she is. Libby and friends are surprised. Mr. Poole asks her to sign the confession, but Harvey stands up and protests. She's not a witch. Is this the face of a witch? Witches are horrible, ugly things that melt when you throw water on them, and he throws water on Sabrina to demonstrate. Sabrina argues back that he's just using stereotypes. He doesn't know if witches are ugly if he's never seen one. They fear witches because they've never met any. If they were more accepting, there may be witches among them that feel comfortable sharing who they are, and then they could have a big pizza party. She asks the crowd if they can accept witches, and they all yell no. Sabrina rolls her eyes and admits that Hilda was right. Mr. Poole then asks Sabrina and Jenny to stand in front of him for their sentencing. He asks who believes that Jenny has a witch card, and a majority of people clap their hands, except for Adam and Harvey, who do not clap.
Good job, Adam and Harvey.
No, I was impressed by that. He then asks who believes that Sabrina has a witch card, and only Libby claps. Jenny is convicted of being a witch, but Sabrina is off the hook. Sabrina doesn't understand. She confessed, but Harvey says no one could accept that she was a witch. Libby asks how Jenny will be punished, but Mr. Poole says there is no punishment, but she can pretend they hanged Jenny.
Did they actually hang anyone during the witch trials?
I think they did. I know somebody got stoned to death. Bridget Bishop was the first to be hanged, so that means there's multiple hangings.
There were 19. My bad.
But yeah, I think that's how they all were killed. I don't think anybody was actually burned to death in the Salem witch trials, were they?
I thought they were, but it looks like no, it was all hanging, and the one dude got stoned or crushed to death there, and the others died in jail while waiting. Well, that just ruins my imagery of the witch trials.
You wanted more fire.
Yeah, I want medieval times, Inquisition times there. Puritans.
Libby gets worked up and asks if she can at least be put in the stocks until the bus comes. Sabrina slyly zaps Libby, causing her to feel cold. Libby asks Jill and Cece if they're cold, but they don't feel anything. Then Libby gets a wet willy. Mrs. Hecht tells her that she's taking it too far. Then Sabrina zaps a monkey wearing a fez hat onto Libby's shoulder, but no one else can see it. Libby is freaking out and admits she was making up everything else before, but now there's really a monkey. Sabrina gets her to admit to everything. Mr. Poole then reverses Jenny's conviction and sentences Libby to the stocks. Everyone leaves as Libby still tries to convince them that there really is a monkey. And I did so much research to figure out if this was a famous monkey actor. All I can tell you is it's not the monkey actor from Friends, or the one from Night at the Museum, or the one from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which are all three different capuchin monkey actors.
How many capuchin monkey actors are there out there?
At least 4.
Touche. I was asking for that answer.
Also, did you see the latest? It came out like within the last few months. There was an article that came out about how much David Schwimmer hated the monkey from Friends. Apparently, the monkey was a bit of a diva.
I mean, I think those monkeys are allowed to be a little bit of a diva.
I think it was like tongue in cheek when he was being interviewed, but it's pretty funny if you get a chance to read it. Everyone is back in their regular clothes, getting ready to leave, except Libby, who is in the stocks with an itchy nose. Mr. Poole happily itches it for her, and Libby says she just hit the bottom of the well. Mrs. Hecht talks to the kids before they get on the bus, telling them about the social experiment they participated in. There was no one with a witch card. They all said townsperson. She didn't create the witches, they did. Back on the bus, Harvey and Sabrina are sitting together when she finds her card from the beginning of the trip. She opens it and finds witch written on her card. She's stunned.
Did she magically make that happen herself in her subconscious? Or is Mrs. Hecht secretly a witch hunter and onto her?
Or do we think it's like the magic in the universe? Maybe it's Drell.
When in doubt, Drell.
Just blame it on Drell. In our end tag, Hilda and Zelda are admiring the kitchen witch Sabrina got for them. Do you know what a kitchen witch is?
I do not.
It is also sometimes called a cottage witch, and it's a homemade doll resembling a stereotypical witch or crone displayed in residential kitchens as a good luck charm and to ward off bad spirits.
Residential American kitchens, worldwide kitchens. I feel like European kitchens, maybe.
I mean, at least Americans, if they're selling them at the Salem gift shop.
Yeah.
All right, let me look more about kitchen witches. But you also have to be careful because it's not like actual witches who practice kitchen witchcraft. Originated, some claiming Scandinavia, others Germany, probably older Northern European custom.
Europeans.
Do any of our 4 English listeners have a kitchen witch? We do have some Scandinavian countries who listen to us.
Ooh.
So, any of you have a kitchen witch, also let us know. But I also want one for my kitchen now.
I like the word poppet. Little poppet.
Sabrina admits she's glad that she stayed in Salem. She learned her lesson. Hilda gets up to get more pie, but Sabrina tells her to sit down and magically floats the pie over to them. She's so happy to be home and be herself again. And that's the episode. Our next episode is Season 1, Episode 24, our Season 1 finale. It is called The Troll Bride. And Skye, what do you think it's about?
Twist things, because I like a twist.
Okay.
Sabrina turns into a troll, and Harvey is the bride.
Okay.
Or Hilda moves on from Drill for a troll, which is really a step up from Drill.
That's fair.
We end with a wedding.
There you go. Okay.
It's a finale. Gotta do something.
Gotta be a big one. In the meantime, like, share, rate, and subscribe. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod and TikTok at something.witchy.pod.
We also have a Facebook we never talk about.
Oh, yeah, we have Facebook. That exists. But it's also just the same things that happen on our Instagram, and I check it less.
Touché.
I still probably check it more than Skye checks the TikTok, though.
I will get on there at some point.
I keep getting emails that there's like one person who's commented on one TikTok, and it's just like, hey, by the way, they commented 3 months ago and you haven't looked at it.
I know.
But also it's a weird comment, and I don't think the person understands that this is a Sabrina.
Right? Like the first comment was, who is Rudy Kazootie? Because it was on my like Rudy Kazootie horror trailer I made. And I was like, well, to find out, watch the episode and listen to us. And then I saw that they commented again, and that's the one I haven't looked at.
Oh, is that the one that says, yeah, I watched it?
Oh, maybe. You know more than I do because I haven't opened it.
That's all it says in Gmail, is it tells me what the comment says. And I thought that was just a random comment on one of our random reels. Somebody just said, yeah, I watched it.
No. They asked who Rudy Kazootie was, and I pointed them in a direction and was afraid of what they might say next because I don't like long social media conversations.
If you want to have a social media conversation, don't go to TikTok. Go to Instagram where I will reply to you. All right. Until next time.
Stay magical.